You probably didn't see it coming. You let her go. Maybe because she wasn't showing you the love you deserved. Maybe because things weren't adding up. Or maybe because deep down, you knew you were giving more than you were getting. Whatever the reason, you made the hard call. You walked away. Then something shifted. Now she's calling, texting, watching your stories, suddenly interested, suddenly emotional. She's asking questions, giving compliments, acting like she's waking up to what she lost. And here's the part that messes with your head. She seems more into you now than she ever was when you were available. Why does this happen? Why does a woman fall harder once you stop chasing? The answer is simple. Space creates value. Letting go removes the pressure. And in that silence, she starts to hear her own feelings louder than ever. This video is about that exact moment. The one where you, as a man, step into your power. Not by arguing, not by begging, not by explaining, but by pulling back. You show her who you are without needing her to see it. And that's when everything changes. This isn't about playing games. It's about control. Emotional control, self-respect, presence. You'll see how walking away isn't weakness. It's the strongest move you've got, especially when it's real, especially when you mean it. We're going to break this down in 7 parts, each one giving you something sharp you can apply or recognize. Whether you want her back or just want to understand the psychology, the next few minutes will reshape how you think about women, attraction, and timing. When a man lets go and means it, she doesn't forget. And sometimes, that's when she falls the hardest. 1. The power of absence. There's something about being missed that can't be replaced. When you remove yourself from someone's life, not out of spite, but because you finally chose peace over chaos, it creates a void. And if you ever meant anything to her, she feels it. That absence becomes a mirror. Suddenly the calls stop. The constant access to you is gone. She can't reach you the same way, and that does something deep to a woman's emotional core. Think about the moment Tony Stark sacrificed himself in Avengers: Endgame. All the conflict, all the mistakes he made, none of it mattered when he was gone. That's when everyone realized the weight of who he was. It's the same in love. Sometimes a woman doesn't fully grasp the value of your presence until it becomes your absence. Absence is powerful when it's done with purpose, not to manipulate, but to protect your peace. A man who can walk away with dignity is a man who understands his worth. He doesn't need to explain it. He doesn't need closure. He knows who he is, and he chooses to protect that, even if it means losing her. Kobe Bryant once said, "Rest at the end, not in the middle." That mindset applies here. If she wasn't giving you her best, if you were showing up fully and she couldn't meet you halfway, your silence becomes your final game. That's where you rest, not to quit, but to finish it like a man. The absence isn't empty, it's full of meaning, full of energy. And trust me, she'll feel it. And when she does, emotions start waking up in her that she didn't even know she had. Because now, for the first time, you're not there to answer. You're not there to explain. You're not there to fix. She's alone with her thoughts, and those thoughts turn to memories. Memories of how you made her feel. Memories of when she felt safe, desired, understood. That's the kind of absence that hits different. One man told me he walked away from a woman he'd loved for 3 years. She said she didn't want anything serious, so he stopped chasing. 4 months later, she was back, crying, saying no one else made her feel the way he did. It wasn't because he ghosted her or played games. It was because his absence had weight, and she felt it every single day. Absence, when it's real, becomes louder than words. You didn't have to post quotes, throw shade, or show off a new girl. You just had to disappear from the spot you always filled. That quiet will echo in her mind. And if the connection was real, she won't just remember you, she'll want you. Not the old you who chased, the new you who walked. 2. When mystery returns. When you walk away, something powerful starts to happen. Mystery comes back into the picture. The same mystery you had when she first met you. The thing that made her curious. The thing that made her imagine what kind of man you were before she ever knew you. Over time, when a woman feels like she fully has you, that mystery starts to fade. She begins to expect you'll always be there, always answering, always waiting, always giving. But when you're gone, when your voice, your presence, your attention is no longer guaranteed, that mystery wakes back up. And mystery is the spark behind attraction. It's what fuels desire. If you've ever watched The Dark Knight, you know what made Batman so compelling wasn't just his power, it was his mystique. He didn't talk too much, he moved with purpose. He stayed in the shadows until he needed to be seen. Women respond to that same energy, especially when it comes from a man they used to have constant access to. One guy I worked with was in a 2-year situationship. She liked him, but never enough to commit. He finally cut it off, blocked her on everything. Didn't slam the door, just walked out of it. 4 weeks later, she emailed him through a business inquiry page on his website just to get his attention. Why? Because the mystery came back. She didn't know what he was doing, who he was with, or how he felt. And not knowing was killing her. You've got to understand this. Women are emotional creatures, and mystery hits them in a place logic can't reach. When she doesn't know what you're thinking, where your heart is, or whether you've moved on, it creates a tension inside her that feels electric. She'll tell herself she doesn't care. She'll act like she's unbothered. But if she ever truly felt something for you, the unknown will start to eat at her. Look at how the media reacts when someone like Leonardo DiCaprio moves in silence. He doesn't advertise his relationships. He doesn't explain his breakups. And yet, everyone watches, speculates, imagines. That's the same energy a woman feels when a man she once had disappears quietly. The mystery becomes intoxicating. She starts checking your socials, asking mutual friends how you're doing, looking through old photos, replaying the way you used to look at her, all because she doesn't know anymore. She used to know. Now she doesn't. And that eats at her more than you think. You don't have to create this mystery. You just have to stop solving her puzzle. Let her wonder. Let her guess. Let her feel the distance between the man she used to know and the man she can't read anymore. When mystery returns, attraction returns. And when attraction returns, feelings follow. And the craziest part, you didn't have to say a word. 3. Emotional reversal. Here's where the game flips, emotionally. When you let her go and truly detach, something starts to shift. Not instantly, but gradually. The emotional weight that used to be on your shoulders starts landing on hers. And the very feelings she used to run from begin to circle back and stick. Why? Because the emotional pressure is no longer yours. You dropped it. You passed it to her the moment you walked away with your head held high. Let's talk sports for a second. Remember when Tom Brady left the New England Patriots? Some thought it was a mistake, that he'd be nothing without the system, without Belichick. But what happened next? Brady flourished, won another Super Bowl with the Buccaneers. And suddenly it wasn't him chasing validation anymore. It was the Patriots and everyone else realizing they'd lost the glue. That emotional reversal? That's what happens when a man lets go and keeps it moving. A woman, even when she says she's not ready, still feels the energy of your desire. She knows when you're hoping she'll change. She senses it. Women have emotional radar. But when you let her go, not as a bluff, but for real, her radar starts to scramble. She no longer feels your energy wrapped around her. She doesn't feel the pull of your attention, and that emptiness creates emotional noise inside her. This is why you see women post cryptic captions, sad songs, and unbothered pictures weeks after a man disappears. It's not about the pictures, it's about the shift. She's trying to process something she thought wouldn't affect her, but it does. Because for the first time she's in the emotional seat you used to sit in. Now she's the one feeling the confusion. She's the one wondering. She's the one staring at her phone and not getting a reply. I worked with a guy who gave his all to a woman, cooked for her, showed up, listened, supported her through every breakdown. She said he was too much, said she needed space. So he gave it to her. No drama, no emotional scene, just disappeared like a man who respects himself. 2 months later, she was in tears, saying she missed him, saying no one made her feel safe like he did. She even admitted she didn't know why she pushed him away. That's emotional reversal. That's when she starts feeling everything you once did. And here's the key. It only happens when your silence is genuine. When your walk away isn't just a move, but a message that you've chosen your peace. If she feels that you've emotionally detached, even slightly, it sends a ripple effect through her system. Suddenly, she's the one carrying the what if. She's the one playing back the memories. She's the one doing the emotional math. It's not about revenge. It's about balance. The scale has to tilt at some point. If you carried it for too long and she never noticed, your absence becomes the weight she never saw coming. 4. Your growth is louder than words. There's a certain silence that speaks louder than any apology, speech, or text ever could. It's the silence that comes when a man starts growing after he walks away. Not pretending, not showing off, actually growing. The gym hits harder, the business picks up, your skin clears up, you laugh more, you sleep better, you stop overthinking everything she ever said. That version of you, that's the version she can't forget. Growth hits a woman differently when it's organic. You're not posting it all over your feed to prove something. You're just glowing different. You've got a new calm, a new rhythm. Maybe you picked up something new, a language, a hobby, a side hustle. Whatever it is, it shows. Not in a loud way, but in a he's on something kind of way. And trust me, if she ever cared even a little, she notices. Think about Jordan in The Last Dance. After all the criticism, the politics, the betrayal, even retiring, he came back and dominated. But what made people respect him wasn't just the rings. It was the silence. The way he worked in the dark. The way he used that pain to sharpen his focus. When you do that in your own life after a breakup or separation, it carries power. Because now, you're not the same guy she walked away from. You've upgraded. And she knows she didn't grow with you. One man I worked with ended a relationship where he was constantly the giver. She didn't value it, he let her go. Fast forward 6 months. He lost 40 pounds, got promoted, and started traveling solo. He wasn't trying to get her back, but she came back anyway. Not because he texted her, not because he asked, but because he grew. And that growth echoed in ways words never could. You need to understand something. When a woman sees you elevate without her, it creates a quiet storm inside her. She starts questioning her decisions, wondering if she gave up too soon, regretting the version of you she never got to experience. Especially if the guy she replaced you with is still stuck, still immature, still half-stepping through life. That comparison isn't something you have to create. She'll do it on her own. And that's why growth after letting go matters. Because when you level up after the pain, it rewrites the entire story. You're not the needy ex. You're not the nice guy who got hurt. You're the man who bounced back without bitterness. And that is magnetic. Even celebrities live this. Look at Ben Affleck, years after the ups and downs, the chaos with Jennifer Garner and his struggles, he shows up again, sharp, focused, and back with Jennifer Lopez. Not because he chased, but because he worked on himself, stayed consistent, and grew. If she sees you rising and knows she's no longer part of your world, it creates a tension she won't be able to shake. You didn't change to get her back. You changed because you finally started living for yourself. 5. Comparison hits hard. The moment you walk away, you're no longer being measured against your mistakes. You're being measured against every man that comes after you. And here's what most men don't realize. The real test doesn't begin while she still has you. It begins when she tries to replace you. That's when comparison shows up. Quiet at first, subtle, then loud, then permanent. If you ever had impact, she'll compare every man who follows with the one who walked away. At first, she'll tell herself she's moving on. New faces, new conversations, maybe even a new situationship. But time reveals truth. When the texts from the new guy don't hit the same. When the way he touches her doesn't feel as secure. when he doesn't read her the way you used to. That's when your memory starts getting clearer. It's like watching a classic movie again after years. At the time you didn't notice the details, but on that second watch, the lines hit harder, the scenes feel deeper. Same with you. She may not have appreciated your presence while you were there, but when she starts interacting with guys who don't measure up, she starts noticing the quality you carried, the depth you brought, the way you made her feel safe, understood, wanted. One man I coached had a quiet strength. He didn't argue. He didn't get emotional when she began pulling away. He just said, "If I'm not what you want, I'll step back." She thought he was bluffing. A few months later, after trying the dating scene again, she came back. Her words? "I thought it was just how men were, but I see now what you did wasn't normal. It was rare." That's comparison. That's when your absence is stacked next to new experiences and wins every time. And don't think it's about being perfect. It's not. It's about how you made her feel. Most guys chase, flatter, and try too hard. That gets boring fast. What sticks with her is the man who stood firm, who gave her depth, who didn't flinch when she pulled away. That energy is rare. And rare gets remembered. Look at how fans reacted when Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson left wrestling. WWE tried to replace him. They brought in new faces. Some were good, some even great. But people still compare them to The Rock because of the charisma and presence he brought. You can't fake that. You can't replace that. It either sticks or it doesn't. Same thing in dating. She may not tell you. In fact, she may act like she's doing great. But late at night, after the date ends and she's lying in her room alone, the comparison creeps in. That laugh you had. The way you used to hold her without needing to say a word. The protection she felt. That emotional weight shows up again. And it hits hard. Not every woman admits regret. But every woman who truly felt something for you compares. It's not a game. It's human nature. You just have to let the comparison do the work. Quietly, patiently, powerfully. 6. Time reveals the real value. Time is the great equalizer. It doesn't lie, it doesn't rush, and it never forgets. You see, when emotions are high and you're still fresh in her life, a woman can make quick decisions. She can walk away fast, talk tough, act like she's fine without you. But give it time, real time, and everything becomes clearer. What was overlooked starts to shine. What was taken for granted starts to feel like a loss. The real value of a man isn't always seen in the moment. Sometimes it takes weeks, months, or even years for her to realize what you were really bringing into her life. That's the slow burn. That's the difference between a spark and a flame. Because when you let her go without bitterness and you keep growing in silence, time starts working in your favor. Think about Forrest Gump. Jenny ran from him for most of her life. She didn't see his heart. She didn't understand the depth of his love or his loyalty. She chased chaos, the fast life, temporary highs. But when life finally slowed down, when reality set in, it was Forrest she came back to. Why? Because time showed her who was real, who was steady, who actually loved her without needing to be flashy. Forrest wasn't trying to prove himself, he was just consistent. Time did the proving for him. I know a man who went through a rough breakup with a woman he was deeply invested in. She said he was too calm, not exciting enough. He walked away, focused on building his company, traveled, stayed grounded. 2 years later, she reached out, not with a dramatic speech, but with quiet honesty. She told him that now, after dating several men, she saw what made him different. She said, "I thought you were boring, now I realize you were peace." Time is a filter, it sifts through the noise, the fake connections, the temporary attractions, the moments where she thinks she can do better. But as time moves and she's exposed to real life, work stress, emotional burnout, weak connections, that's when your value starts to take shape in her memory. The man who didn't argue, the man who stayed calm, the man who didn't chase but cared, the man who walked away, not to punish her, but to preserve himself. That image stays, not because you forced it, but because time builds it for you. Even in the celebrity world, we see this. Look at Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears. At the time of their breakup, people sided with the story of who seemed cooler, more in control. But years later, with everything that's come out, time has shown a different side. Reputations shift. Truth floats to the top. It always does. So if you let her go, and she didn't seem fazed at first, wait. Let time do what it does best. You don't need to text her. You don't need to prove anything. Let your silence, your consistency, your growth stand as the message. She'll hear it. Eventually, time will say what you never had to. 7. She falls for the man you became. Here's the final truth most men don't expect. When she comes back, she's not chasing the version of you she left. She's drawn to the man you became after she was gone. That version, the focused, self-respecting, calm and grounded man, that's who she starts to feel for in ways she didn't before. Because now you're not reacting, you're not waiting around, you've evolved, and evolution is attractive. What throws women off is that growth changes the entire emotional dynamic. The man who once texted her every morning is now silent. The man who used to double back after arguments doesn't even argue anymore. You're too clear for that now. You don't need her approval. You don't need her presence. You're not bitter. You're just different. And it's that difference that shifts her energy. You ever watch a movie where the character starts off soft, naive, emotional, but by the end, he's sharp, calm, untouchable? Look at Rocky. In the beginning, he was the underdog, full of heart but rough around the edges. By Rocky 3, he's polished, focused, composed. Same man, different weight. Women feel that evolution the way audiences felt Rocky's transformation. It creates gravity. She can't ignore it. One guy I spoke to dated a woman for over a year. She left him, said she needed to find herself. He didn't fight it. He took it as truth and let her go. In 6 months, he stopped drinking, picked up a new trade, started leading in his community. He glowed differently. When she circled back, she said, "You don't even feel like the same man." And she was right. He wasn't. And that's the key. You didn't become better to get her back. You became better because pain forced you to grow. That kind of transformation doesn't just make a woman second-guess her decision. It humbles her. Because now, she's not even sure if she can reach you anymore. She's not sure if you'll want her. The roles flip. She starts chasing clarity, chasing answers, chasing the version of you she didn't take seriously before. Even in real life, public figures experience this. Look at someone like Robert Downey Jr. He hit rock bottom, publicly. Relationships, career, everything crashed. But he rebuilt. Not for the fans, not for the industry, for himself, and the world took notice. Suddenly, he wasn't the troubled actor anymore. He was Iron Man, loved, respected, needed. That arc, that's real life for men who walk away, heal and rise. So when she falls back into your life, don't let ego speak. Let your growth speak. Let your new presence speak. Because if she truly feels something now, it's not about guilt or regret. It's because your new energy pulled her in. It's because the man you became while she was gone is a man she never got to fully experience. And now she wants a taste. And here's the truth. If she's falling now, it's not by accident. It's because evolution is attractive, maturity is magnetic, and you finally became undeniable. Letting her go wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something bigger. You didn't just lose her, you found you. And that shift, that silence, that space, it did the talking. It reminded her of your worth without you having to explain a thing. So if she fell in love after you let her go, understand, it wasn't magic. It was manhood. You grew. You stood tall. You chose self-respect over begging. And in doing that, you became unforgettable. Let her feel it. Let her come back if she wants. But never forget, your value was never based on her staying. It was always yours.